Hello everyone, and welcome to another royal reading here at MadWorldTarot. Well, it's not really a royal reading today. It's going to be filed under my Camelot series. So it's royal adjacent. It's really looking at the archetypal energy around the King Arthur legend that I have explained in previous readings came or was inspired by something that popped up on YouTube by Amanda Ellis. And of course the King Arthur legend, the once and future king, which she says is embodied by Prince William, that energy. And of course, if Prince William embodies the King Arthur energy, then the cast of characters around him embody other energy that is in the legend. The Knights of the Round Table, and not only the Knights of the Round Table, but certain darker archetypal energies in the story, and we are going to be looking at those energies today because the energy swirling around the royal family right now is very dark, so dark that I had to have a break yesterday and get my energy back to itself. So dark that the headlines today in the royal stories in the Daily Mail are that William and Catherine are shaken by the stories swirling around. I'm looking at my notes, that's why you can hear rusting paper. Shaken and devastated by the speculation around their marriage. And so first of all, let me interrupt myself by saying happy St. Patrick's Day to all my Irish viewers and all people who associate themselves with Irish energy in some shape or form. So we'll say that, and that's a happy energy, of course, before we jump right back into the dark energy. And of course, the dark energy in the Arthurian legend comes from two sources, and it's very difficult to pin down a strict narrative because those of you out there who are experts in the King Arthur legend, and I certainly am not, so I spent quite a lot of time yesterday trying to catch myself up. Those of you who know a lot about the story know that it has many iterations, and it's very hard to pin down a true version, especially as we're dealing with an energetic story rather than a literal story. And I have to make that clear. We're dealing with archetypes, we're dealing with energy that at some level is playing out in other dimensions maybe, but that is now being replicated down here in 3D. So it's difficult to get a true version of either of these characters, but they play essential roles. Mordred, the traitor, the bastard son, as he's known, and not a PC word at all. So that's the one we're going to look at today, who was actually responsible for killing King Arthur, or fatally or mortally wounding him, not necessarily fatally wounding him. That's the one we're going to look at now in this reading. And then Morgan or Morgana or Morgan Le Fay, Morgraine, the sorceress, as the other energy that we're going to be looking at in the second reading. So let's get to Mordred. And for this reading, I have the Trickster's Journey on the Tarot. The tarot decks that I was hoping to be reading with have not yet arrived, so I'm making do with what I have. I know it's not a very popular tarot deck on this channel, and of course it's completely not the right location. It's a Chinese-inspired tarot deck, but it doesn't matter. It carries this certain energy in it. And the energy that Mordred is associated with, let's put the cards down for a bit. The energy he's associated with is, of course, traitor energy. Mordred, according to the most dominant story version of the Arthur legend, was the bastard son, the illegitimate son. So he came from a tainted source of King Arthur. King Arthur was warned by Merlin that there was a child, a baby, that was going to be his ruin, his undoing. And so, of course, very like the Jesus story in the Bible, call went out to annihilate or eliminate all baby boys, and Mordred survived. Mordred is the usurper. He wants the throne. He wants his father's throne. He wants to be High King of Britain, and he's encouraged in this endeavor by Morgan Le Fay, who is most often described as his mother. Interesting. And he, of course, in the final battle against King Arthur, the final duel, King Arthur manages to kill Mordred, his son, who comes from this tainted source from incest in some stories, things like that, kills him, but Mordred, with his last breath, mortally wounds King Arthur, and in many versions of the story, King Arthur is then taken to Avalon to be healed and for his energy to wait and to come back in England's hour of need. So that is the story. So Mordred is ambitious, treacherous. He's the traitor within because he comes from the bloodline. He's a usurper. He wants the throne. And in his personality, in the legend, he is described as villainous, as murderous, as a rapist, as a lout, violent, ugly energy that is depicted in this legend. So we're going to look at this archetypally, of course, and we're going to look at this Mordred energy, and of course the person who springs to mind in this narrative, who comes from within, who a lot of rumors say is not necessarily official and legitimate, is Prince Harry. And I have to remind you that this is archetypal. I'm looking at energy now. I'm looking at how characters around now in our present time might at some level embody this archetypal energy. So that's what we're doing with this reading. I'm going to look at it. I'm going to look at what the Mordred energy represents, the traitor within, and why it's necessary in a story archetypally. And then I'm going to look at Prince Harry and how he might embody this energy. What might that be about? And does he have any awareness of his role in the story? Just curious to know. Because we're all archetypal, we all operate at these kind of archetypal levels, as above, so below kind of thing, with our subconscious and all the rest of it. I'm not going to go into great details about that now, but I'm sure the vast majority of you watching this, and thank you for watching, it's a bit out in the weeds. The vast majority of you are I'm sure understand exactly what I'm talking about. Then we're going to look at outcomes for Prince William as King Arthur and for Prince Harry as Mordred, because of course the two were locked in this conflict and each annihilated each other. So outcome for Prince William and outcome for Prince Harry as embodying this energy, and see what we get. And hopefully we get something interesting. And Trickster's Journey, one more it says. Okay, so one more. And sorry for the rambling intro, but we have to explain all these things. And tarot is really just a vehicle for looking at this very interesting take on the story that's playing out now for all of us so prominently and so disturbingly. I think so many people are disturbed by it. So many people are jumping on various camps. I see a lot of celebrities are sort of mocking now, where's Kate and all that kind of stuff. Very ugly, and people are finding it offensive. And some of these celebrities that are doing it might just find themselves cancelled, interestingly. So our underlying energy is the 10 of coins, 10 of pentacles. That is the royal family, that's the legacy. And of course Mordred is the enemy within, so he's within, or perhaps not within, the bloodline, the official bloodline. The 10 of Pentacles is about inheritance and bloodlines and generational wealth and being linked through bloodlines and linked into the future. And so it is about that. It's about who gets the legacy, who is in and who is out. And can you be half in, half out, of course, as Harry and Meghan are trying desperately still to do. But there we have it. It is about legacy. It is about who is the High King, who has that status. And clearly in our current version of the story, Prince William is the heir to the throne, and he will, all going according to plan, ascend to the throne. And Harry is out and doesn't like it, and that of course is the usurper energy that we're looking at archetypally. And of course, disclaimer in the box below, I haven't bothered with my usual one. It's very clear that I'm just reading energy, archetypal energy, and of course there is a disclaimer in the box below. So the situation, the overall situation we're looking at, the King of Swords. This is a king who is strategic, who is a warrior king. the King of Swords, but no question about it. And these were, in the legends, they were not the kings as we now mostly know our kings to be. They are not warrior kings, but in the legend they were. They had their swords, they had their knights, they had their armies, as you might call it. They were all about living and dying by the sword. And there it is, the King of Swords. We're dealing with two who duelled, who did battle. So that is that energy that we're talking about today. And of course, in the legend, they both end up killing each other in that final duel. I wonder if I'll be cancelled on YouTube for saying the K-I-L-L word. Who knows at this point what goes on. But anyway, let's look at the Mordred energy, the traitor energy, the usurper energy. What is it all about according to tarot? What is it about? Wow. That energy showed up. The Morgan Le Fay energy showed up. The Queen of Wands in reverse. Is that not interesting? Wow. I'm actually quite chilled. I have to tell you, I feel quite shaky doing this. I have to wait for the energy to be correct for me to do these readings. These aren't just normal royal readings, as I said at the very beginning. But the Queen of Wands has come up in reverse, and the Queen of Wands, of course, in our version of the Arthur legend, is Megan herself, and she is what is behind this. And in the Arthurian legend, that version of it, it's the mother who is power hungry, who is a seductress. She's described as, that is the Queen of Wands. Wands are, of course, very sexual energy. So the seductress, the angry woman, the woman who causes drama, who has extreme power, who's forever out seducing the knights and trying to tempt them and keeps them hostage, basically. That is that energy. So that is behind the Mordred energy. So Mordred in himself actually might not have been as difficult and dangerous an energy if it were not for that Queen of Wands in reverse energy that has kind of fueled the flames. And of course, in our current narrative, we see that Prince Harry was quite happy in his royal life. He now describes it as a misery, and he was just desperate to escape. But he only really wanted to escape when that Queen of Wands figure arrived on the scene, quite miraculously, almost magically, kind of conjured up, some say by sinister forces, and started dripping the poison allegedly into his ear. And let's of course remind you, we're looking at speculation here today and always on this channel. So tell us why this Mordred energy is necessary in the narrative. So why, from a story point of view, is it necessary to have this traitor in the bloodline? What does it do? And we have the Four of Coins, and the Four of Coins is about stability and control. And it's very often about hanging on to stuff. It's the miser energy. It's about who's got the stuff and who might want the stuff. Four of Pentacles is very often described as someone, in the Rider-Waite depictions of tarot, somebody who's got his feet planted on pentacles with a city behind or a castle behind and clutching a pentacle to his chest. So it's about mine. What's mine? And what's mine? That pentacle that sits in front of the heart chakra is blocking heart energy. So it's about miserly energy. It's about being over-controlling, over-invested in status and power and control. And so this is why the usurper energy comes in to shake things up, because what happens to the Five of Pentacles is it's shaken up into the Four of Pentacles is shaken up into the Five that comes next, where there is loss and ruin and chaos and exile. So it's to destabilize this, it's to contest this Who has it? I have inheritance and legacy and money and control in both of these cards. This is about the material world and who gets to control it, who gets to control the kingdom, who gets to control the resources. It's all about that. And the little peasants in the background are the ones that have to march to the drumbeat of these kings of swords. It's interesting for us mere mortals in these kinds of stories where we fit in. So tell me about Prince Harry and this Mordred energy as an archetypal level. How does he embody it? What does he represent in this story? And the next queen comes out in reverse, the Queen of Cups, the mother, the Queen of Cups. And of course it's the Diana card, famously the Queen of Cups, and the bitterness about the mother. And as I say, I'm not an expert in the King Arthur narrative in any of its iterations, the ancient ones and the modern retellings. I'm not at all. But I'm guessing somewhere in that story, because Mordred is the bastard as it's described, the illegitimate son, I'm guessing that at some level there is a mother who has been scorned, betrayed. I don't know, you'll have to fill me in there. But we have two queens in reverse. We have the Queen of Wands in reverse, we know who she is. We have the Queen of Cups in reverse, we know who she is. So it's a mother wound that is behind this, very, very clear. And it is Mordred's relationship with women that is at issue here in the story, that in the energy that's coming through for me with the Trickster's Journey Tarot. And it's interesting that Mordred is very often depicted as somebody who has a very toxic relationship with women. As I say in the legends, some of them, he's violent towards women. He's all of those nasty things we needn't go into in ghastly detail here. But it's coming from that mother wound. And of course, the Queen of Wands tries to depict herself as the Queen of Cups very often in our version of the story down here in 3D, in current time. So, what awareness does he have of his role in the story? How does he see himself? We're talking about Prince Harry now. How does he see himself? The Three of Coins. It's funny how these coins are coming out. He sees himself as belonging, as being the third in a team. And he was, of course, with William and Catherine and himself. They were the three that put their heads together before the Queen of Wands showed up magically in the story. So he sees himself as a team player. He sees himself as belonging in there, as an equal, because the Three of Coins is really about equals in a team. They all have their roles to play, and he still sees that he is equal status with our King Arthur and Queen Guinevere, William and Catherine. He still sees himself as an essential team player in the story. He doesn't realize that he is out, and that he is perceived by them as a traitor and a usurper, and by many of the people watching the story. And we're of course talking archetypally, and of course this is my speculation and my interpretation of these cards. So let's move to outcomes, because we know how the King Arthur legend played out very badly for both of them. Let's see how this version of the story might play out. I nearly said King Arthur. Prince William first, in his King Arthur energy, we got the Four of Wands in reverse, and that's very destabilizing for him. And it can be destabilizing of his marriage, because the Four of Wands is a marriage, is a wedding card, wedding celebration card. So it's going to really cause trouble for him on the home front. It's going to, and of course in the King Arthur legends there was big trouble in King Arthur's home front, without getting into gruesome detail about that either. So it's going to destabilize his marriage. He's going to have to work very hard to keep his marriage on track, because of this toxic, traitorous, treasonous energy that's coming from within the bloodline, that's coming from within the royal family. The Four of Wands is of course the firm as well. It's one of the royal family cards. Two have shown up here for me doing this reading. So it's going to And it has already. I mean, that's why I'm doing these readings now, because I'm trying to figure out what's going on at a meta level with this King Arthur legend. It has, of course, destabilized the marriage. We all see that. William and Catherine have now come out and said how distressed they are at the speculation around their marriage. And it is destabilizing the monarchy. I nearly said King William. When he becomes king, as we all hope that he does in due course, when that happens, he's really going to have to rebuild the monarchy. He's going to have to stabilize it. Fours are about stability. It's being destabilized because of Mordred's lust for power, his perception that he is the one who should be king, who should be in this Ten of Pentacles, who should be the dominant character in this narrative. Basically, how's it going to go for Harry embodying this Mordred energy for the sake of our story? He's going to be blocked and stopped. Much worse card for him. And I'm very glad to see this, I have to say. I'm extremely relieved. I get very nervous when I do these, and some of it is just chi, it's just energy running, and other of it is real anxiety about it, because a story is very important for all of us at a meta level. That's why we do these readings. Chariot in reverse, blocked, and blocked, of course, by the King Arthur, Prince William energy, which is Cancerian energy, major arcana for Cancerian energy. It's the card of ambition, overwhelming ambition when it's in reverse, the Chariot. Lust for power, being absolutely driven, political power, all those kinds of things. And he's stopped in his tracks. So Prince William is going to stop him, but at some cost to his marriage, to his reign, to his life and his own stability and his own happiness. It's taking a toll. You can see it in him now, how it's taking a toll. It's aging him. He's showing real signs of wear and tear at this point, as the king does, as presidents, for instance, of America do. I nearly said get crowned. Sorry, completely the wrong word. What's the word? And then within days they've gone grey and they're all wrinkled and stooped, and it's a terrible burden. It's a terrible burden on Prince William, but it's not fatal and devastating. This is an overweening ambition that is absolutely blocked by Prince William. I'm very pleased to see that at the end of this reading. And that is the reading, and I hope it was interesting for you. And thank you very much for joining me on this little journey that I'm on.